During the last 40 years, I've been traveling around the world, reporting on the customs and traditions that give meaning to our lives. During those years, I discovered that the ones that were most valuable to me were the ones that gave me a sense of inner peace and self-knowledge. A couple of years ago, I told a friend of mine that I was interested in taking a break from traveling around the outside world and wanted to make a trip to the inside to find out more about my own feelings and how they might relate to the universal themes of life. He suggested that I take a look at the teachings of a man named Prem Rawat. Prem, who is also known as Miraji, is originally from India and has been speaking to people around the world for about 30 years. He talks about the possibility of knowing contentment in our lifetime. He points out that the forces of modern society may stimulate our desires and drive us outward in a search for happiness, but lasting happiness can only be found within you. Like most people, I am interested in inner peace and self-knowledge. But as a journalist, I am particularly skeptical of anybody who tries to show me how to find it. In spite of that cynicism, I attended 2 lectures by Prem, and I found his message to be timely and quite significant and quite entertaining. And most surprisingly, some of the things he said actually helped me solve some problems that I was having with my family. I want to point out that I am not a student of Prem Rawat. I am a journalist interested in his story and his message. And he's very open about that. He says that the things that he teaches are significant to some people, but not to others.
This is a reality. This is a possibility. It is simple, it is beautiful, it is profound. And my words don't mean anything till you have felt it yourself.
My conversations with Prem were taped over the course of several months in Malibu, California. We talked about his life, my life, what is going on in the world today, what makes people happy, what makes us sad, and how one can choose to live. When people come to hear you speak, what do they expect?
I don't really know what they expect. I guess some people come and it's like, enlighten me away. I can't do that. What I expect to do is to come and speak from my heart. That's all I expect of myself. To be real, to be genuine.
Is there a central message or a series of messages that you tend to give during each of these?
My central message is, you are alive. Congratulations, you are alive. Now let's begin with that. We don't have to create a curriculum. That's not necessary. Let's just begin with, congratulations, you are alive. What more needs to be said? Do you know what that means?
Probably not. What does it mean?
I'm very fortunate to be alive. Where's my gratitude that I exist? I'm unique. Do I really see myself as this unique being, this new unique individual? Or am I so busy trying to be like everyone else?
What else do you teach?
What else is there? Is there more?
This is a short but intense discussion.
It should be. That start of accepting this moment, this life, that's the doorway to everything. Everything.
Why do you think we don't do that?
It's a lot easier to sit there and wonder what's going to happen tomorrow. Want to know the future? Wait. It'll come to you. It's headed your way. Have patience. We don't have patience. We want to know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow is never going to come. Because every time tomorrow starts to come, it becomes today. Today, we're not interested in. Because today is dedicated to tomorrow.
Pay attention to today is what you're saying to me now.
Even more than that. Because today comes in this moment called now. Pay attention to this moment called now, and you will understand what you are all about. You look at a river. And yet if you were to journey up that river and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, you'll get to a point where you will see not a river, but a drop. Very gently, very slowly, filtering through all the soil, all the rock, or melting of a snow, coming to a pinnacle, waiting till it builds, and then dropping. Drop. Drop. And drop. Never any faster, never any slower. Drop. And all those drops come together and form this mighty, mighty river. Looking at the river, you can't imagine its gentleness of a drop, just like the gentleness of the moment called now. That's your drop. That's how this life begins. That's how this dance begins. Mighty power in this world, and a humble drop called now.
How do you begin to learn about yourself?
You know, all our lives we try to reason, logic. So many people are living in that reason. So many people are completely indulging themselves every day. Well, now I have done this, so I must be okay. Now I can do this, so I must be okay. But you know, there's something more than reason, and that is feeling. Feeling is far, far more important than reason. Let me give you an analogy. The other day I was watching this cook show on TV, and he's telling us, you know, here's the salt, here's the cream, here's the mushrooms. And I can sit there and I'm mentally taking notes, right? Then all of a sudden, he does something. He takes his finger, dips it in the sauce, and tastes it. And I'm sitting there going, huh? What does it taste like? Because you just put this thing together. And it's incredible. I can see that. I can reason that much. But what does it really taste like? I don't know that. So if, in a way, we start to look at the reason in the same fashion, that we reason so many things, but what is it really like? What is it really like to experience? What is it really like to feel that? There is all my logic, and then there is a feeling. And when I start to acknowledge in my life this one valuable tool that I have been given, which is I can feel. I don't have to reason everything. I can feel too. Then you start to enter in the realm of self-knowledge. Because that's what self-knowledge is going to be. It's going to be a feeling. Peace is a feeling. Happiness is a feeling.
Do you think our world has gotten so noisy that we can't hear what's inside?
I think it's always been noisy. But now we're letting that noise come in. And we are listening to it. And not only listening to it, but we're sometimes passionate about it. And it's like, oh yeah, I just love the sound of the freeway running by my window. You know, God forbid something happens and all the traffic stops and it's just dead quiet. And that sometimes to people is very scary. I look at a child. There is something that that child is getting, feeling. That is incredible. And I can only relate to it because I have felt that when I was young myself. It's like, it's fun.
Do you think that when we're young, we are in better touch with ourselves?
Things aren't that complicated. Things are a little simpler. The volume hasn't been turned up on all the noise outside. It's a little easier to go with the flow, so to say. To say to oneself, I like this. I want to feel this. I want to enjoy this. And that feeling and that enjoyment is enough. The world can wait.
I feel it's very easy for people to get lost in the noise of the world, just the way you were describing it. How do you find your way back?
Stop reasoning. Start feeling. It's not like disasters and the noise doesn't once in a while get turned up, even for that child. But they have a way of feeling. This feels good right now. I'll go with this. This is good enough. This is right.
Boy, I've said that to my children so many times when they were trying to pick a school to go to or get into university. I said, well, I don't know that we can reason through this. What feels good to you? That's going to be your best sign. Interesting.
Certain things definitely need explanation, and certain things don't. Science can never explain to you why a sunrise looks so beautiful. There's no scientific explanation. The fact that you have a lot of hydrogen out there, the fact that you have the Earth's reflection makes all the colors and all the... Yes, but why does it look beautiful?
Why? Now that you've raised that issue, I've seen hundreds of sunsets. I've enjoyed them. I've never understood why will I walk to the end of a pier to see a sunset. Why do I do that?
Because the beauty is within you, calling out to you to appreciate, to enjoy what is enjoyable. It's a gift to appreciate, to be able to enjoy, that one thing that you are alive. That, what the heart yearns for, that is what I am all about, what you are all about.
It seems that there's so little in the world that reminds us to do that. Pick up the newspaper. Issues like this are never discussed. They seem to push you away from yourself. Yeah?
Because reasoning comes into it. I'm going to think logically out of this. Well, I'm not putting down logic. We all need that. But then you have to know where you get off. It's like going to your friend's house for dinner. You're not going to take the car to the dining room. The car is going to go maybe to the driveway, to the front porch. It's going to stop and you're going to get out and go in the house. We got to know the difference. How far is reasoning going to take me? And where I need to begin to feel. And for so many centuries, the voice has been calling out, what you are looking for is within you. What you are looking for is within you. What you're looking for is within you. Your truth is within you. Your peace is within you. Your joy is within you. And the desire to feel those things is what constitutes the thirst. To feel joy. You see, it's not that you have been given anger and thirst to feel anger. No, you have been given anger, but a thirst to feel tranquility. Yes, you have ignorance, but you have been given a thirst to feel clarity. And herein lies the biggest confusion for people. Don't be confused. Change that what you have placed in front of you. Trade the doubt for clarity, and you will feel clarity. Because feeling is what you must do.
Is there any way I can tell when my feelings are accurate as opposed to false?
You will know if you know how to trust in yourself. If you're going to sit there and get caught between reasoning and feeling, there you are touching this object that maybe what's written on this object is caution, red hot. Do not touch. You bring your hand closer and closer and you feel no heat and you're going, but it says, do not touch. There's something wrong here. It's saying it's hot and I know it's not. What do I believe? Well, I know it is not hot because I have felt it.
It's interesting. That's almost an innate response that you're talking about of I want the experience and the feeling over the reasoning. I've told you not to touch the plate, it's hot. I've got to find out for myself.
Exactly. Don't you know what's important? Can't you feel what's important? Can't you feel your life? Why does somebody have to come along and drag a little label and say, ta-da, and you can look at it and go, oh yeah, this is very important because this says so.
How do we get into that mess? I mean, what you're describing is absolutely accurate. We look outside for all of our confirmations.
We become so comparative, It's like, let me compare my success, your success. Where do I stand in relationship to you? All of a sudden, it becomes like a big chess game where you're looking at it and you're going, what is the relationship of the knight to the pawn, to the bishop, to the queen, to the castle? And you're looking at all these. What is threatened? What is not threatened? Life is not a chess game. Life is this beautiful drum of breath that is beating. Life is a flower that needs to be admired. Life is this beautiful fresh water welling from the spring that needs to be drunk and the thirst quenched. Life is offering not a challenge, but a joy.
What are some of the thirsts that we have? You use that metaphor in a very nice way.
Thirst to be content. Thirst to be fulfilled. A thirst in itself just wants to be quenched. Enjoy the thirst. You see, we live in a world where it is, oh, you got a little pain in your finger? Let's fix it. Are you thirsty? No worries. Let's go get the water. But here, to discover, my goodness, I am thirsty. Because for so long, I didn't think I was thirsty. For so long, I just went around saying, I'm me. I've got this. I've got that. I've accomplished this. I don't get thirsty. And then to feel the thirst. And be fascinated by it. Because what kind of salt did you eat to create that thirst? Then, to turn within and drink from the fresh spring that wells from within. And quench the thirst. Not just a little thirst, but quench the thirst like it has never been quenched before.
There's an outside world, and you and I are travelers in it. But there's an inside world that you know much better than I do.
For so many people, a home is a building, 4 walls, roof, and all of that. But there is another home. That is the true home. Where you exist to enjoy, where you exist to rest. To rest. Rest from all the crazy noise, rest from all the crazy things that happen during a span of a day. To come home and to rest. Here, sleep means something else. Sleep doesn't mean to close the eyes, but to open the eyes to the inner world. To throw open that back door and walk into this garden. A garden that is so meticulous. A garden that is so perfect, where every leaf dances in a cool breeze. One thing about the inner world, one thing about the inner journey that is incredibly fascinating is it's never the same. Never, ever the same.
Why is that?
This landscape inside is infinite. And a little bit of a turn and you see something else, completely different. The word boring does not apply to the world within. Never is it boring.
Prem's journey was never boring. His inner journey began in India. His guide was his father, a teacher who inspired many people to look within.
He had a passion, beautiful passion, to reach people and make them aware of this opportunity that exists in their lives. He was giving them the opportunity to have self-knowledge in their lives.
Did your father feel that it was in a Hindu or Sikh tradition when he taught?
No, he always made that distinction that follow any religion that you want to follow, but then when it comes to the self-knowledge, when it comes to that feeling inside, it's always within you, whether you follow a religion or you don't follow a religion, whether you're poor, whether you're old, whether you're young, whether you're rich, whether you're educated, whether you're uneducated, it didn't matter. None of those things matter. The only requirement for it was that you be alive.
Prem was a child prodigy, and at the age of 3 began to speak in front of crowds who had come to see his father.
So I'd get on the stage and I'd start speaking to them. And that, they would just go, fascinating, this little kid speaking. And then when everybody had kind of settled down, I'd just say, okay, tell my father they're all ready to listen to him.
You were the opening act for your father. That's amazing. Prem's life was turned upside down in 1966. At the age of 8, his mentor, his beloved father, passed away.
He was the rock. And the next thing you know, he's not there. And it was like, do I really understand this? Do I really understand the dynamics of this? And then I remember being in this hall where all these people had come to pay their respects to him, and they were waiting and crying. And I came on stage and I said, don't cry, don't weep. Because what you really loved is still here and will always be there with you. And it was a powerful moment.
It's amazing that you had the ability to grasp those ideas and express them at 9 years old.
It was very genuine. I saw these people weeping. And I felt this is something that I can do. I want to help.
What made you feel at that tender age that you had the ability to impart knowledge?
Not everybody can paint. That doesn't mean that they can't feel, but they can't express it, can't bring it to canvas. Peace is within you. I have that gift which can bring that feeling to the canvas. I can paint, and I paint with my words.
His words began to attract the attention of visiting Europeans and Americans who wanted Prem to teach outside of India. So in 1971, at the age of 13, he left for England.
It was my father's aspiration. He wanted me to go. He himself did not speak English, but he wanted me to go to school, learn English, and then take this message to as many places as possible.
Tell me about the message he wanted you to take.
It's about this incredible, beautiful potential of life. It's about how we really can be fulfilled. We can do something so that we can have a little hope in our lives, so that we can have a little peace in our lives.
Was that your first trip out of India?
Yes. I got in the airplane, and I didn't even know if I was going to be able to change clothes, because when I left India, I was wearing a suit. And you look at my pictures when I arrive in England, I'm wearing Indian clothes. So I didn't know if I could change, so I put on both pair of clothing.
One under the other?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And we arrive in England, and I remember walking through the airport, and there's all these people there to greet me. From there on, it was just soak it in, soak it in, soak it in. So much to learn, so much to learn.
After several weeks in England, Prem arrived in the United States, where he continues to live.
And what I learned over the period of years that I've traveled around again and again is that it doesn't matter where I go, which country, what culture, the thirst to be happy, to be content, is exactly the same. We're all so different and yet so alike.
How do you see that in people? Are there things that they say?
When they hear the message that within you is something very profound, very beautiful, it isn't like, huh? But it's like, I know that. I know that. Isn't that incredible? You're telling them something new and they're going, no, this isn't new. I have known that there is something so profound inside of me. And what's so important about the breath? Well, let me tell you that too. Because it is the courtesy of this breath that there is color red. This is the courtesy of this breath that there is New York. It is the courtesy of this breath that the sky is blue. It is the courtesy of this breath that you can taste food, that you can smell a flower, that you can appreciate sunshine, because when this breath is not there, none of those things are possible. And amazingly enough, in each breath comes this possibility to be fulfilled. Fulfilled. Think of that. Fulfillment. Fulfillment is not a trivial thing. Why isn't it a trivial thing? Because this is what you have always desired in your life.
I have seen people in other places searching for a kind of self-knowledge or a knowledge different from the immediate environment. And I thought, wow, what an interesting reality. That there are people searching for better ways to live and teaching them. That's the way I see you, as teaching a better way to live.
What I want to teach is not a bunch of ideas and not a bunch of concepts. I want to teach you to discover what you already have. It's a very different kind of teaching.
But you're teaching me. That's what I feel.
Or how about holding up a mirror? My job is to make sure the mirror is nice and clean. Nice and clean. And I hold the mirror up. And then I get to watch you smile when you see in the mirror, because you're always pleasantly surprised.
What you say about mirrors is now echoing in terms of my relationship with my children. They'd ask me questions, and then I'd let them talk.
People look at me and it's like, I didn't ask you to hold the mirror. I asked you a question. Why are you holding the mirror? And I'm saying, yeah, but keep looking. And you will learn to look within you. And when you do, you will find the answers. And I sit there and I clean the mirror, and clean the mirror, and clean the mirror, and clean the mirror. Look. I don't want to look. I haven't got the time to look. I'm too busy. This is not what I want right now in my life. Well, what do you want in your life? Did you look at the mirror again? No, I can't. I'm too busy. There's other things going on. This is interesting, but someday. Today is your day. Every day is your day, not someday. Every day is your day. That's the way it is.
When you speak about peace, what do you mean?
Peace, not the kind of peace that is tied to something, but a peace that is inherent in every human being. Every human being. And we're talking everyone. Peace that is there when we are asleep. Peace that is there when we are awake. A peace that is there when we are in the middle of the greatest turmoil. Not a result of something. Not a consequence of something. Just because you turned off your stereo and you closed your windows and you turned off the air conditioning, now it's quiet and peaceful. No, no, no. A peace that's always there. Even when that air conditioning was running. Even when there is a war on the outside, something quiet and beautiful on the inside.
How do you explain to people what that feeling is like?
You have to feel it. And once you feel it, then you will have the common reference necessary. Peace within yourself. To be in that harmony. Not the harmony outside. That's impossible, because so much is changing. But inside, you are very, very still. It's like a huge wheel, and the outermost part of that wheel is turning the fastest. And as you go in, slows down, slows down, slows down, slows down, till the very center is barely moving.
What a wonderful image. The outside of the wheel spinning around like mad, and the center quiet and still.
Exactly.
Well, there's a trip to look forward to.
Peace begins with every single human being. It is not an issue of institutions. It is something that has to be felt. It is something that has to be experienced in the heart of every person. We do so much in this world to try to make ourselves comfortable. We do so much in this world to make a better life. Everyone who can, in his or her own way, tries very hard to better themselves. And yet, we spend so little time understanding the dynamics of what causes this to happen. What is it inside you and me? What is it inside every person in this whole world that is pushing them, forcing them to evolve into a better situation, to be more content, to be more joyous, to be more in peace? One of the most fundamental things is, do I or do I not understand that within me there is something waiting to be discovered? There is more to me than I realize. There is more to you than you ever thought of. That within me there is a treasure worth more than all the money in this world. That there is a most beautiful scene, more beautiful than anything I can imagine. And if I can accept that, then I am on my way to understanding what that peace is.
I wonder, if I get to the center of the wheel, how do I deal with the people around me? What's going to happen to friends, acquaintances, business associates who aren't at the center of the wheel? Am I still going to have a life?
You will have just one difference. Only one. And that difference is, you will be at the center of the wheel. You